Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 15 Plus and compare it against the iPhone 12 and see which particular iPhone is the better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you between both of these iPhones, there really isn't one that I look at as like, okay, this is the best one in every single way. The 15 Plus clearly is a better iPhone that I'd recommend a majority of people to buy. And the reason for that is because it's the latest, iPhone. I keep saying Apple Watch. It's the latest iPhone, has a lot of capability, but the iPhone 12 is still kind of good for the most part, like for the average person. And you're also getting it for much cheaper than the iPhone 15 Plus. It's still going to be supported with software, and there's still lots of overlap between these two devices as well. And it's a smaller phone that some people may prefer. So if you want to pick up any of the iPhones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get that from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these devices, the iPhone 12, which came out in 2020 on the front, has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And it's a very good panel. For how old this phone is and for being like a 60Hz panel, it's still very good. It's not the best panel of all time, but it's a good panel. And if you can buy this phone for like less than $400, like it's a pretty good phone that you're getting overall. You're still getting the notch up top. So it's still like not super outdated. We just had the notch on the iPhone 14s last year. So it's not like this super outdated design. Pretty thin bezels. And because this iPhone had flat sides on it, it kind of made this phone feel a lot more modern in a way, because all the iPhones now have flat, designs and flat sides. So even though this iPhone's a little bit older, it still doesn't feel super old because you are getting those flat sides on this particular device, which is honestly very nice. So that all kind of rhymed. Now on the 15 Plus, a little bit of a different story. You're getting a much bigger 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this is a much bigger panel than the iPhone 12s. Now that is going to be the make it or break it probably for a vast majority of people watching this video. If you are not comfortable using a big phone, then the iPhone 15 Plus is pretty much not going to be that comfortable for you. So that's why I kind of look at devices like the iPhone 15 Plus. And I kind of would recommend people that, if you are wanting a smaller phone, just go for the standard models of those devices. You're going to be in much better company, but this device has that dynamic island, which is super nice. Pretty thin bezels around it, still 60Hz panels on both, but I will tell you from my perspective, both these phones kill it. But the iPhone 15 Plus probably has a better design and a better display. Flat sides on both, like I mentioned before, but the 15 Plus's curved sides are a little bit nicer, I would say. On the bottom, you are getting a lightning port on the iPhone 12, but on the 15 Plus, you are getting USB-C. Now, USB-C is amazing. I love having that type of capability. For charging and whatnot, it's probably going to be, a big difference still, but my big thing is accessories that I already have for my MacBook. Microphones, dongles, all these other things. The fact that I can just plug in my dongles from my MacBook to my iPhone are amazing, and I love that so much. And that is probably going to be one of the best features and things I'm looking forward towards for the, using my 15 Pro over than my iPhone 12. So that's kind of another small slight thing to kind of keep in mind there too. On the back side of both these iPhones, we're getting a frosted glass back on the iPhone 15 Plus, which looks amazing, and you're getting the standard glass back on the iPhone 12. From that perspective alone, I definitely would look at something like the 15 Plus as being a much better performing outside, and that is something that I actually really do like on that particular phone. On the iPhone 12, you're getting that, standard glass back, still feels good and everything. You're getting dual camera setups on both devices too, which is really nice. You're also getting MagSafe capability, which is really, really cool as well on both, and wireless charging, IP certification, lots and lots of overlap here, but I'll definitely tell you, the big difference is USB-C, bigger display, dynamic island, and frosted glass back on the 15 Plus. But the iPhone 12, for it being a smaller phone, I'm sure a lot of people still like this type of device as well. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the camera side of things, you're getting a different type of camera setup on both these. They're kind of the same, but a little bit different. So with the iPhone 12, you're getting that, wide and ultra-wide camera. On the iPhone 15 Plus, you're getting a higher megapixel main angle lens, and you're basically getting a lot more zooming in capability. So you have basically twice as much zooming in capability on the iPhone 15 Plus than on the iPhone 12. So that right there is a pretty big difference, because if you're wanting a better, performing camera, you are definitely going to be getting that on the iPhone 15 Plus over the iPhone 12. So once again, if you're wanting the better camera, the 15 Plus is there for you. The iPhone 12's camera, you can still do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, and it's still a very, very good looking phone. It can take very good videos, take very good photos for the most part, but I've always said that the iPhone 12's camera was more aligned with the iPhone 11's camera, and you're still missing out on some cool features that even like the iPhone 13 camera had. The 15 Plus has, cinematic mode. It has better, video and photo modes. You have depth control and, better focus mode options. It's an overall better camera on the 15 Plus, And if I were to choose one, it wouldn't even be any competition. The 15 Plus is definitely the better one. And honestly, it is a pretty big upgrade. Coming from the iPhone 12 to the 15 Plus, you are actually getting a pretty decent upgrade going to the 15 Plus rather than staying on the iPhone 12. So from that perspective too, that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of software and longevity, you are definitely going to be getting the longer lasting phone from the iPhone 15 Plus. This is the latest phone that just came out, and even though it has kind of like a year-old chipset if you kind of think about it, you're still going to be getting a longer lasting phone from the iPhone 15 Plus than on the iPhone 12. But the iPhone 12 is kind of like a third in place of getting discontinued. So, before this phone, you have the iPhone 11s and the iPhone XS and XR. So there's still like 2 or 3 generations of iPhones that need to be dropped in terms of support before the iPhone 12 actually ends up getting dropped as well. So you really don't even have too much to complain about there. And you have the iPhone SE1. So from that perspective alone, or the iPhone SE2, not the second one. So you still have a little bit of time for the specific device before it ends up getting dropped. I would probably say like iOS 19 or iOS 20 is when this thing's going to be officially dropped with support. So even from there, you have many, many years until this thing even ends up getting dropped. So I wouldn't even really worry about it from that specific perspective either. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the speed and performance, there's a pretty big difference here as well. So with the iPhone 12, you're getting that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside with 4 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 15 Plus has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 GB of RAM actually this time around. So you are definitely by far getting a way better performing phone from the iPhone 15 Plus. But the iPhone 12 is still going to be a very fast phone for a lot of people as well. In fact, I just did a speed comparison the other day between my iPhone 12 and the 15, and my iPhone 12 was keeping up very well against my iPhone 15, and it was genuinely surprising. I was not expecting that iPhone to be as fast as it was, but it was actually keeping up, and I was very, very surprised about it. So that's one thing that's kind of shocking to me. But if you're wanting the faster phone, like I mentioned, the 15 Plus consistently is going to be the faster one. It's going to be giving you faster speeds. It has more GPU cores. It's going to be giving you more RAM. But I will still say the iPhone 12 for how old this phone is still genuinely surprising. And it can probably get the job done for you for a lot of people out there. But if I were you, I would probably just go ahead and buy something like an iPhone 15 Plus if it really comes down to it. That's going to be the faster one. But you still have a lot of phones in between these that you could also pick up. And even in the battery life standpoint, I mean, this is going to be the best reason to buy the Plus phones. Substantially better battery life on the 15 Plus. So in that performance side, even though you're also getting better performance, you are also getting better battery life on the 15 Plus, which is genuinely surprising to me. So I look at a device like the 15 Plus, like I mentioned before, and that is something that I actually do feel pretty good at, of having something like the 15 Plus that has very decent battery life at that specific standpoint. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is I definitely do look at a phone like the iPhone 15 Plus, and that is by far the better one, probably in every single area. I kind of feel like if I were to go and buy a phone, this would be the one that I would probably buy and use on an everyday basis because it is the better one with the better battery life. The iPhone 12 though, I think is a better deal. If you can buy this thing, like I mentioned, for like less than $400, that's a very solid option. On top of that, it's, substantially smaller and more comfortable to use. And even though you're getting worse battery life and worse performance, I still think it's a decent trade-off if you're wanting to keep this phone for a couple of years and just buy the iPhone 16 or iOS 7 or iPhone 17. So you have a couple of options there, but overall, that's kind of how I feel with this particular device. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.